Out of all the books I've written, that sounds weird. Out of the 4 books I've written, this one honestly is the one that means the most to me because it means the most to my mother. And the anniversary of my dad's death was just last Thursday, and so she said to me on Thursday, "What a tribute you gave to your father." So that's all I really need. I am, and also the journalist from La Voce di New York is here, Lauren Wagner. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful review. I'm just so thrilled. Thank you. I'm just going to read you a very short piece of the book. It's, as you probably figured out, the book is based on or framed by the letters my parents wrote to each other for 2 years, 2 years before they even met each other. Dad was living here in New York City in a 5-story walk-up with his immigrant Italian parents. He spoke very little English, having come just 3 years earlier. And his brother sent him a letter. And so my grandparents didn't speak any English, so he had to read the letter to them. Out of the letter fell a photograph. And in that photograph was his brother and his new fiancée and this young woman who he just was smitten by. And he immediately wrote to his future sister-in-law and said, "Who is this girl?" and asked her if I can write to her. And she said no. She eventually relented. Otherwise, there'd be no story. So, after 2 years, this is what happens. The train ride from Paris seemed to take forever, but he was on his way to Bisceglie. Orazio had traveled by ship from New York to France, and he had been on the train for over 21 hours. Thankfully, he was finally in the province of Bari. The train had passed Foggia and Barletta over an hour before, and he realized he was almost there. Orazio was getting antsy as the train reduced its speed. He knew Bisceglie was the next station. When the train slowed to a stop, he grabbed his suitcase and jumped off. There was no announcement, but he didn't think twice about it. Orazio was in Bisceglie. He gathered his luggage alongside the train and looked around. It was a chilly November morning, and the sun had not yet risen. He had been away from Bisceglie for 4 years and was trying to get his bearings. As the train pulled away, he realized he had not reached the train station yet. He was at least a mile away. Olive groves flanked both sides of the street, and there was no one in sight at that hour. What could he do now? How was he going to get to Bisceglie with all his luggage in tow? He gathered all his bags and hobbled down the road toward the city. It was slow going, and his arms ached from the weight of his burden. Piercing the silence, he heard the clip-clop of a horse-drawn cart in the distance. It was carrying milk from the farms and heading into town. He turned and waved as it approached. The driver slowed down to a crawl. "What are you doing out here by yourself at this hour?" "I've been traveling for 4 days from America. I was so excited to see my fiancée, I hopped off the train too early." "Poor young lover. Then you must go. Get her as quickly as you can. I can drive you as far as the piazza." "That's perfect. My brother Carlo lives right near there." The driver stepped down, and Orazio hoisted his luggage onto the back of the cart. He could not have been more grateful as he climbed aboard and told his love story. It was only 6 a.m. when they arrived. He knocked gently on her door. Maybe Carla was right. What will they think of me waking them at this hour of the morning? But his excitement won over his hesitation. He knocked again with more authority, and he heard a woman's voice cautiously asking, "Chi è? Who is it?" He was sure he had woken her up. How could he have been so foolish? He should have waited at his brother's house until it was a reasonable hour. He could have had breakfast, washed up a bit before coming to see Nicoletta. But he was so excited, and he wasn't thinking straight. He just knew he had to see her as soon as possible. "Sono Orazio dall'America." It's Orazio from America. I just arrived moments ago. "Sì, Orazio, just a moment. I will be right there." She grabbed her house dress, slipped it on, and headed for the door. She poked her head into Nicoletta's bedroom and said, "Nicoletta, wake up. Orazio is here." "What? He can't be. It's much too early." "Quickly, Nicoletta, fix your hair while I let him in." Now, my mother told me these stories. Like, this is exactly what she said. "I look terrible. I can't let him see me like this." You've been waiting for 2 years, cara. What does it matter that you have sleep in your eyes? You have love in your heart. Hurry now. Everything was happening so quickly. Nicoletta was still trying to shake her mind from her slumber. She would have liked to run a brush through her hair, but there was no time. She could hear him coming, so she pinched her cheeks to make them red and ran her fingers through her hair. I hope he thinks I'm pretty. As excited as she was, Nicoletta could not bring herself to get out of bed. She sat up and quietly listened at the door. Nicoletta straightened the covers just as the door opened. There he was, in the flesh. Her heart was bursting. He was more handsome in person than in his photos. He crossed the room in 3 steps and leaned down. Their first kiss was chaste and pure, but filled with untapped passion. Orazio sat on the bedside beside Nicoletta. There was so much he wanted to say, but words wouldn't come. The eloquence of their letters rendered them mute in person, so they made small talk. "You look beautiful, Nicoletta. I can't believe I'm actually here with you." "Oh, Orazio, I look terrible. I didn't even get to fix my hair." "Not to me, my love. At this moment, you are the most beautiful girl in the world." Thank you. It's been a journey of 4.5 years with Mom. And some of you I've already told this to, but there was a little packet of letters that my mother had. She had saved the letters my father had written to her, but after he passed, she discovered that he had saved hers. And in a little plastic baggie were these letters with a tiny little note. It's over there, actually. It says, "For Mario, as requested, our love letters." And she handed them to me about 4.5 years ago, and I said, "Mom, why don't you read them to me?" And that's how this book was born. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of our lives, and I really thank you for supporting me. Enjoy.